Omaha, Nebraska, Tuesday, 7:14 p.m. You are staring at a can of beans. Price, 99 cents. Your name is Arthur Pendleton. At least that's what your driver's license says. The federal government spent exactly $4,200 creating this fiction. It bought you a one-bedroom apartment, a beige sedan, and a fabricated past. Then you hear it, the scuff of a leather sole on linoleum. Italian leather, Ferragamo, $700 a pair. Nobody wears Ferragamo in an Omaha discount grocery store on a Tuesday. Indicator, heart rate, 110 beats per minute. The biology of panic takes over. Adrenaline floods your bloodstream in 0.4 seconds. You have a Glock 26 inside your pants, 10 rounds of hollow point mathematics. But if you pull it, Arthur Pendleton dies, and the ghost of your past resurrects. Distance, 12 meters. Muzzle velocity of a standard 9mm, 380 meters per second. You have exactly 1.5 seconds to make a decision. 1999. You remember the metallic smell of the FBI interrogation room. The deal was simple. 3 terabytes of Cartel ledger data for your miserable life. They promised you safety. WITSEC. The Federal Witness Protection Program. You actually believed them. You thought the system was an impenetrable shield. Rule number 1 of the program: complete severance, no phone calls, no past. You become a statistical anomaly. A ghost with a social security number starting with 078. The reality of protection is just state-sponsored isolation. Solitary confinement with a zip code. Your life is subsidized, $2,400 a month, survival rations. You got a job in data entry, 65 keystrokes per minute, invisible, harmless. You blend into the concrete, you eat frozen dinners, you watch local news. But the brain is a faulty hard drive. It refuses to format the trauma. Indicator update, heart rate rising, 135 beats per minute, cortisol levels critical. Paranoia is an autoimmune disease. It eats you from the inside out. Every mailman is an assassin. Every delayed green light is an ambush. The cartel doesn't use hitmen from movies. They use mathematics. A leaked database. A facial recognition ping from a corrupted traffic camera. It only takes one zero-day exploit to unravel $3 million of federal security. Which brings us back to the Italian leather shoes in aisle 4. The bounty on your head is exactly $250,000. For $250,000, people will find a needle in a haystack. And they will burn the haystack down just to be sure. The question echoes in your hollow skull, how did I even get here? You still don't realize that this Tuesday will divide your existence into before and after. 1988, Gary, Indiana, the capital of rust and broken promises. You're 10. Your world is limited by the smell of mold and the sound of unpaid bills hitting the mat. Debt amount, $412.80. To your mother, that's the price of the moon. You learn to measure poverty by how many times a week you eat real meat. Your father's car always smelled of cheap chemical vanilla. This scent will become your anchor. One October, your father went out for cigarettes and never came back. Math. -1 adult, plus 100% despair. 1996, you are 18. Your official wage is $4.25 an hour, plus tips from people who don't see you. At the end of the shift, you have $32, not enough for new shoes. His name is Don Mateo. He orders only black coffee and silence. Inside that envelope is $5,000, your mother's annual income. He doesn't offer you to join the family. He offers you a transaction. Your job is to drive a car from point A to point B, 50 miles, 1 hour of work. The cabin smells of your father's vanilla. Point of no return crossed at 14:15 local time. You don't know yet that the trunk contains 2 kilograms of 82% pure Colombian powder. You just press the gas. Your fear is worth $500 per run. You take the money, the first clean cash in your dirty life. Heart rate, 95. You feel relief, not shame. Hunger is scarier than prison. She doesn't ask where it's from. She just covers her face and cries. This is the price of entry. You traded your resume for a resource. Mateo said, "In this world, you are either the one who pays or the one paid to stay silent." You chose the second option. At that moment, you ceased to exist as a citizen. You became a function, a logistics node in the supply chain of death. By 19, your income is $3,000 a week. The system has begun to digest you. You thought you were in control. You were wrong. The year is 2000. You are 22 years old. You are no longer moving powder. You are moving paper. They call you a cleaner. It's just aggressive accounting. You learn the mechanics of the wash, placement, layering, and integration. Physical cash is a logistical liability. It weighs 22 pounds per million in hundreds. If you move it in 20s, it weighs over 100 pounds. You can't carry 100 pounds of suspicion. Let's look at the mathematics of laundering $1 million. Placement through cash-intensive businesses. Phantom inventory eats 20%. Layering. Offshore transfers through shell companies. Bribes and fees take another 10%. Net return $700,000 clean dollars. The system always extracts its tax. You tell yourself you do this for her, to pay the insurmountable medical bills. But Stage 4 Oncology does not care about your offshore accounts. You buy her a room at $2,000 a day. It only buys her a more expensive death. 2002. The mahogany casket costs $14,000. The plot is another 10. You stand at the grave. You feel nothing. The moral justification is dead. But you do not quit. The money is a narcotic. The status is an addiction. The cartel demands efficiency. You process $3 million every month. Any anomaly is punished. A misplaced decimal point guarantees a visit from enforcers. Mateo does not tolerate human error. It attracts federal audits. You watch the blood pool. You understand your position in the food chain. You are middle management in a corporation that solves HR disputes with acid barrels. You think you would have walked away? To what? To the $4 an hour diner? To the mold-infested apartment in Gary? No, morality is a luxury for those who have never counted pennies for bread. You buy custom leather now, but sometimes you still smell the chemical vanilla. It is the phantom smell of your own poverty. It forces you to work. You establish relationships with branch managers. You analyze their debts. A Rolex Submariner costs $8,000. It buys absolute blindness. Everyone has a price. You just evaluate the depreciation curve of their ethics. You digitize the entire operations ledger. 3 terabytes of encrypted transactions. Names, dates, offshore accounts, bribes. The entire nervous system on one disk. You tell yourself it's just an insurance policy. A mathematical deterrent. But holding the digital ledger makes you the single point of failure. Indicator update. Resting heart rate, 105. You stop sleeping. Every structural creak sounds like a tactical breach team. You consume 10 milligrams just to force your brain to shut down. The biological tax is being collected. Your nervous system is burning out. You think this paranoia is the most terrifying part. You are wrong. FBI, down on the floor, hands behind your head. The takedown takes exactly 11 seconds. No gunfight, no cinematic escape, just the cold physics of superior tactics. They don't need you, they need your servers. 2004, you are 26. Pre-trial detention, 2 by 2.5 meters, 16 degrees Celsius. Your diet, 200 calories of starch and soy. You calculate your losses, racketeering, laundering, conspiracy. Title 18, Section 1956. Mandatory minimum, 20 years in federal prison. Hour 72, you are moved to the interrogation room. The agent doesn't yell. He speaks the language of a tax auditor. He shows you a $40 million discrepancy. He knows about the 3 terabytes. He knows you are the only key. You say 4 words. What are the terms? Full immunity, WITSEC, a change of identity and social security number. In exchange for decryption keys, a digital death sentence for Don Mateo. You weigh 20 years in a box against a death sentence from the car. Survival math dictates betrayal. You sign. You liquidate your past with one stroke of the pen. The extraction is bureaucratic. No goodbyes. just an asset transfer. You are now federal property, an inventory number in the DOJ system. Inside is Arthur Pendleton, born in Ohio, data entry specialist. You look at a $4,000 piece of plastic, your new sarcophagus. Welcome to WITSEC, the program of perfect erasure. You are dropped in Omaha, $2,000 cash to set up. No contact, no violations, be nobody. And you are alone, totally, completely alone. The adrenaline crash hits. Your biology cannot handle the silence. Indicator, heart rate 115. Panic attacks begin. Week 1, you sign a lease, you buy a used beige Ford. You thought this was a clean slate. You were wrong. It's just a different kind of life sentence. A prison without walls, where every stranger is your executioner. You begin the waiting game. 2010, you are 32 years old. 6 years in the program, you achieved absolute mediocrity. You are undetectable. You process regional logistics for an agricultural supplier. 40 hours a week, 2,000 hours a year. Your official salary is $42,500. You drive a used sedan. It is mathematically invisible. You tell yourself this is victory. You outlived your past. Her name is Sarah, a dental hygienist. She thinks you are boring. She thinks your secret is a bad credit score. Love requires vulnerability. Vulnerability is a security breach. She is demographic camouflage, a biological prop for Arthur. You take her to dinner on Fridays. The bill is $48. You sit facing the door, but the panic has calcified into a habit. Let us review your status at 32. Official income $42,000. Illicit assets 0. Heart rate stabilized at 72 beats per minute. You sleep 6 hours a night now. The prescription expired years ago. The Glock is locked away. You haven't checked it in 14 months. The human organism adapts to any baseline, even artificial ones. Your blood pressure is normal. Your life is unremarkable. You are decaying perfectly on schedule, just like a compliant taxpayer. 2015, you are 37. 11 years as a ghost. The cartel is a memory. Mateo is in for life. The marshal stopped checking on you in 2009. You are a closed file. You believe the illusion. You believe concrete walls stop mathematics. This is the peak of your arrogance, assuming the system forgot. It is Tuesday. It is exactly 4:17 p.m. No subject line. It contains a single attachment, a JPEG, 700 kilobytes. A photograph of Sarah, taken today, from across the street. The timestamp on the metadata is 1330 hours. Interest is compounding, Arthur. Heart rate spikes to 130 instantly. The illusion shatters in less than 3 seconds. You don't call her. Calling her creates a trace. You revert to protocol. 11 years of safety erased by a JPEG. You retrieve the cold steel mathematics from the closet. You pack emergency funds, $15,000 in vacuum-sealed cash. You leave the camouflage. She is already a liability. You need supplies, burners, med kits. You need to become a ghost. Which brings us to 1914 hours, Omaha. You stop at the grocery, a fatal mistake driven by raw panic. You are back in aisle 4, staring at a 99-cent can of beans. And then you hear the Ferragamo shoes. The circle is closed. The loop has tightened around your neck. You thought you reached the ceiling. You were just waiting for the invoice. Muscle memory fires faster than your paralyzed brain. No slow motion, no cinematic aiming. Just 160 decibels of acoustic trauma. You don't know if you hit. You just bought 4 seconds of advantage. You lunge for the heavy fire door. But physics corrects your escape plan. A 9mm round flies at 360 meters per second. It punches through the deltoid. An expansion cavity opens inside. Indicator, traumatic shock, heart rate 165. No pain yet. Adrenaline blocks it. Just intense heat on the shoulder. You floor it. The Ford Taurus vanishes into the night. You are a double fugitive. The cops and the cartel are both looking. A man has about 5 liters of blood. You lose 50 milliliters a minute. The countdown has started. Class 2 hemorrhage. Cognitive functions drop 30%. vision blurs. You dial the federal crisis line, the number from 11 years ago. Your absolute insurance, your safety net. The number you have dialed is no longer in service. The system didn't forget. The system just audited its assets. Your file was closed. You were marked as a loss. A risk manager in Virginia re-evaluated your value. You were traded, a simple barter for a fresher informant. They leaked your location to settle a debt, outsourced execution. It's cheaper to let them kill you than to pay for relocation again. The government balanced the ledger. Arthur Pendleton is annulled. Your real name died in 2004. You abandon the car. You crawl into room 4. No heat, 2 degrees above zero. You tried to tie a tourniquet with your torn shirt. Fine motor skills are gone. Shock is shutting down your organs. Indicator, heart rate 175. Fatal tissue hypoxia. You remember Sarah, your prop. You don't even know her favorite color. You hear sirens. They aren't for you. You don't exist. The triad of death begins. Hypothermia, acidosis, coagulopathy. Body temperature drops below 35 degrees. 15,000 vacuum-sealed dollars. That paper won't buy a coagulant or an evacuation helicopter. It's just cut paper with dead presidents. Useless matter. WITSEC destroyed your past. The cartel is destroying your present. And you are suspended in absolute zero. You are a statistical error dissolving in a stranger's city. Your consciousness begins to segment. The brain shuts down logic. You hear the drip. In your head, it's a money counter. Room temperature, 0. Your core, 33. The heart makes 3 chaotic jerks, the final dance of the pump. Suddenly, through the mold, you feel it. Sickly sweet chemical vanilla. Gary, Indiana, 1988. You return to the point you spent 30 years running from. The cycle is closed. The mathematics converge to 0. Indicator, heart rate 0, asset depreciated. They will find you in 2 weeks, by the cent. He'll find a fake ID for a man who never was. Accounts closed. Your data is obsolete. Buried at the county's expense. A pine box for $180. This is your final valuation. $180 and a piece of tin. Nothing personal, just accounting. The system doesn't mourn, it simply reconciles the ledger. By dawn, even the number will be gone. Total erasure. Somewhere, another Arthur Pendleton is waking up. Another ghost. End of record. The file is closed. Now the final audit. Lifetime statistics. Years lived, 37. Years spent as a fiction, 11. Total earned, $4.8 million. Balance at death, 0. Total days in state-sponsored paranoia, 4,015. Cause of death, ballistic trauma. Status, budgetary liquidation. Now the cinematic lies they sold you about disappearing. Myth 1, witness protection is a fresh start in paradise. Reality, low-budget relocation to a dying town, slumming zip codes. The government isn't your guardian angel. They are your slumlord. Myth 2, you can delete your past in the digital age. Reality, your digital footprint is a permanent scar. A 2003 ping never expires. Every transaction is a breadcrumb for a $250,000 bounty. The cartel has spreadsheets and patience, no statute of limitations. Myth 3, helping the feds buys you safety. Reality, you are an asset. Once the trial is over, you are an expense. They don't protect witnesses, they store them until they rot. You think you can win against the house owns the oxygen. If this story made you feel the cold steel, hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell. We tell the stories movies avoid. In the next video, a new truth. Write a profession in the comments. See you in the archives.